Right guys, so in this video I'll be showing you what free online tools and resources that I use to elevate my graphic design process. Because yes, I still remember what it feels like to be a struggling designer with little to no experience. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm still struggling, but at least I've got some experience to share. A bit of behind the scenes for you guys there. So without wasting any time, let's go! Right guys, so the first resource that I've got here that I would like to show you is Cosmos. Now think of Cosmos like a powered up Pinterest. Like Pinterest, there's lots of curated images, so if we go down, we can see that there's tons of images that would be suited for me. So we've got lots of cool posters, some good typography here, some nice gradient shapes. And what we can do here, just like Pinterest, is go to create and then create collection. And then you can just name your collection whatever you need to. So I've just created a collection here called Cool Things. And then if we come back here to the For You page, we can click here on the drop down and then click Cool Things. And then it will save the image to your collection. But what makes Cosmos different from Pinterest is that it has an AI-powered search tool. So let's say I wanted to search for images of cats. Let's do that. And then we've got lots of images of cats here. But if we go on this color wheel here, we can determine what kind of color we want the pictures to be. So let's make this like a lilac color. Say around there, press search, and then we've returned a few images of cats that have the same color that I'd selected. Admittedly, it's not that much. Let's try something else. So I've just done another search here for flowers with the same color that I had selected before, and as you can see, it's yielded a lot more results. So I can go through the results and of course I can save them to my collection. So let's say we wanted cute flowers. You can see that the search is a bit more refined, and that's because the search is AI powered. So it's a lot more specific than just searching on Pinterest. And let's say we wanted to change the color, we'll keep the same search term. We can then change this to say a yellow, like a neon yellow. Press search and no elements were found. Lovely. So another thing you can do with Cosmos is find images that are similar to ones that you upload. So I've just dragged in an image of a ginger cat and it's yielded a lot of results of ginger cats. So if you find something similar on a different website but it's just not quite right, you can just plug it into Cosmos and see what kinds of things you can find. I found out about Cosmos quite recently and I think it might just take over Pinterest for me. It's really handy to be able to select a color along with the search term. That just makes things like designing mood boards for brand projects 10 times easier. That and having the more specific AI-powered search really makes Cosmos a bit of a game changer. So next up guys, we have Graphic Burger, and this is where I source all of my free mockup templates. So you've got things here like t-shirts, mugs, stamps. We've got phone mockups, hoodies, boxes, vans even, wrapping paper here as well. Even things like picture frames and signage. I've just done a search here for pouch and it's brought up 3 different mockups I can use. So let's take this one. And what you want to do is just hit download. And it really is as simple as that. So I'll take you guys over to Photoshop now and I'll show you how easy it is to create a mockup from a Graphic Burger template. I've just got one of the plastic pouch mockups from Graphic Burger here, and to create your mockup it's as simple as looking for the red coloured layer on the right, then double clicking on the picture in the layer to take you into the editor. Now from here you can create any design you want and then close the editor and it will update the mockup. So I'll do that now and I'll show you what it looks like. So I've just drawn up something dead quick here. I've just changed the design into more of a sweet packet rather than a chips packet. So if we just go to file and then save, we can then save what we've just edited. And then if we get rid of this window here, we end up with our design. And it's worked perfectly as intended.
Look how she ate that.
You can see how the design follows the contours of the packaging and also the shadows and the highlights. Now I could just make my own mockups, but 1, I don't know how, and 2, why would I want to when there's just free resources like this that give you a professional result? And it just saves so much time because it's so quick and easy. So third on the list and an all-time classic, it's Pexels. For those of you who don't know about Pexels, you can see that the headline on the website sums it up the best. You can get all sorts of royalty-free and copyright-free images to use in your designs. And there's also a search bar here where you can search for whatever you want, and also you can add stuff to collections just like Cosmos and Pinterest. So let's do another search for flowers on here and let's see what we get. a lot of images of different flowers. Now the good thing about Pexels is that it's owned by Canva, which to be honest, what isn't these days? But to be honest, I really respect them because they're making their creative pipeline really accessible. Now because Pexels is owned by Canva, you can hover over any image you want, go to this drop down in the top left corner with the Canva logo on it, and you can select any of these functions down here, and the image should just open in Canva. And yes, indeed it does.
No, it's true. It's true.
And because I picked adjust color, it's brought up all of the different color adjustments on the side here. So we can adjust the temperature, adjust the tint, adjust the brightness, contrast, highlight, shadows, whites, and blacks. That was a mouthful. So if we then play around with these settings here, we can make granular adjustments to the image. So you can create something more akin to what you would find on Cosmos, but just through Canva. And then once you're happy with it, you can just click download up in the top corner. So Pexels is great for when you have that one very specific image that you want, but it just needs some small tweaks. So you can just take that image into Canva, work your little design magic, and then you've got the perfect image for your project.
It was perfect.
Pexels is usually one of my first port of calls when I'm designing some sort of mood board for a brand identity project, and the integration with Canva makes it really easy to get exactly what I need. So next up guys, we've got Texture Fabric. Now this is a perfect website for sourcing high quality textures. So you can see on the sidebar here under categories, it's got a lot of different types of textures. So we've got gold, marble, metal, we've got some noise textures, plastic, photocopy, and the list goes on. So if we go into something like, say, paper, there'll be lots of different bundles that contain paper textures. Now to download them, all you need to do is click on it and then right click and press Save Image As, and you've got the image in your downloads folder. Now Texture Fabric is perfect for if you're designing a poster and you want that little bit of texture, or if you're working on a branding project that just requires that little bit more analog or material feel. So I studied games design at uni, and this website was the perfect place to come to source all the textures for my 3D models.
Clap if you care.
So there's just another application in a different design space. So a lot of these textures on here, especially this paper one, are like perfect for using a mask with, or maybe doing a bit of layering, something like that.
Onions have layers.
Yeah guys, if you want a design with a lot of texture, a lot of layering, then Texture Fabric is definitely the way to go for you. In the same vein as Texture Fabric, we also have Texture Labs, which I think just has a bit of a better selection than Texture Fabric does, because not only does it have different types of textures, it also has things like iconography and things like decals like this star here. So if I go to the search bar here and type in something like stone, it brings back a ton of different stone texture samples. And a handy thing about Texture Labs is that you can also favorite any textures that you find, or when you go to download them, you can download them in different resolutions. And this one here in particular goes all the way up to nearly 8,000 pixels by 5,000 pixels.
That's quite big.
So it's very high resolution. A lot of the downloads that you'll find on here are perfect for large scale designs that require really high resolution assets. I've also just done a little search for vector here, and it's brought back tons of pre-made vector designs, so this is also perfect if you're working in Illustrator a lot. Especially if you're just struggling to create that one specific vector shape that you need, you might be able to find it on here. See here, right guys, we've got this plane, okay? And it's in a perspective as if it's flying through the sky. Now I don't know about you guys, but I would find this quite challenging to do in Illustrator. So what I could do is just download this, pop it into Illustrator, and then just tweak it to how I would need it. So yeah guys, if you're working with a lot of vectors or a lot of textures, Texture Labs is definitely the one for you. Second from last guys, we've got Typescale. Now Typescale is really good when you're working on a brand identity project or a website design. Now what this website cleverly allows you to do is find the right typescale for your typefaces. I mean, it is called typescale.com, so that would be expected.
Ciao. Anyway, so
what we can do here is plug in our base font size. Let's say we want something around 18, and then we can change the scale of the font size, let's say to around major third. Then let's change the font to something different. Let's go for Joan here, a nice serif font. You can also change things like the weight, add the line height, letter spacing, color, and background. But what's most important here is that Typescale will generate a complete font suite based on the base font size and the scale that you selected. So it takes the guesswork out of deciding how big your font should be in your projects.
Since you got your degree, and you know every f***ing thing.
So if we change from REM to points here, you can then just plug these numbers into Illustrator or Photoshop or whatever program you use, and then you'll end up with the perfect font sizes for your project. And of course, if you're working on a website, then REM and pixels might be more appropriate. But if you're working in a program from the Adobe Creative Suite or something like Word, you'll definitely want points instead. Now, if we come over here and shrink this panel, Typescale will also show you what your typeface might look like on a website design, or you can click the drop down and click blog post and it'll show that instead. This feature is obviously made more for the web design bunch, but it can give you a great idea of how your typeface and typescale might look on a website. If you guys are struggling to find the correct sizes for your font suite, definitely give typescale a try. Now the last one, which I'm sure most of you know, is coolers, but I had to put this one in here because it is an obligatory mention. Now if we go down to the start, oh my god guys, look at this, when did they add this? What the hell? When I move my mouse over the letters, it just changes them to rainbow.
Oh, party, yeah.
Oh my god, I could sit here and do this all day. This is so cool. Anyway, as I was saying, if we go down to start the generator, it will create a beautiful color palette for you. What you guys can do is press space to generate more colors and okay. So it seems I need a subscription to generate more than 5 colors. That's a bit pathetic, is it not? Oh my god, that's so stupid. Why would I need a subscription to generate some colors? Oh my days. Anyway, so we'll get rid of one of the colors in here. Actually, no, 2 of the colors. And then we'll just press space and it will generate us some different color palettes. A neat thing about coolers is that when you find a color that you like, let's say this lovely purple here, we can come over to it and press the lock button, and then when we press space some more, it will generate colors without getting rid of that purple color. Let's see if I can generate a good color palette here just by doing this. Let's lock in this pink here and this turquoisey teal color here. Then we'll lock in this pastel orange, and then finally let's go for this dark purple here. So I've made my own color palette here just by pressing the space bar to generate more colors and clicking the lock button to lock the ones in that I want to keep.
Yeah, boy.
Now there's some additional cool features with coolers as well. See what I did there? Cool? Coolers? Yeah?
Clap if you care.
If we take a look at these buttons on the center when you hover over the color, we can check the contrast. We can see it's good against black text but not good against white text. We can also click on the View Shades button and you can select different shades with the color you've got selected as a base. We can also save the color, copy the hex code, but most importantly, we can go to View Color Info. Now this will tell you things like the name of the color, the hex code of the color, and also the general vibe that the color conveys. Now it seems you have to unlock Pro to get a deeper meaning of the color, which I don't know why you would need to, because you can just Google the color and find that out for yourself. Who is paying for these stupid features on coolers? Definitely not me, and you shouldn't either.
Clock that T. Clock that T.
We've also got the conversions here, so we've got the hex code, then we've got what that would be in RGB, HSL and CYMK, and a few others. It also gives suggestions on the different types of harmonies that could be used with other colors, the shades here again, as well as some similar colors. It also gives you some accessibility ratings as well, so it gives you a score based on how good it is on a white background, a black background, and whether it's colorblind friendly or not. This emerald here definitely won't work on a white background, but it'll work very nicely on a black background, but it isn't very colorblind friendly, so you'd probably want to pick a different color. No guys, oh my god, I've just seen up here there's a little icon. Chat about this color with the color bot. No way, no way. Let's see. Oh my god, you can have a chat with an AI about a color. That's absolutely crazy. Who wants to chat with an AI bot about a color? Like, that's honestly so pathetic, it's unreal. Haha, yes, AI, isn't this a nice green? Why, yes, it's a lovely green. So stupid, man. But yes guys, that was coolers, so if you ignore the absolutely pointless AI features, you've got a lovely little tool that can help you decide on a color palette, or at least find where to start with a color palette. And with that guys, those were all of the resources that I have to show for you today. I tried to pick a mix of resources for images and textures, as well as things that would help you with typography and colours. So I hope that I've done a good job, and I hope you get some use out of the tools that I've shown you guys. If there's any tools that you guys use in your design processes, please let me know down in the comments, because who knows, maybe I'm missing some cool tool that everyone's using these days. Thank you guys so much for making it to the end of this week's video. If you like what you watch, make sure to check out some of my other content on the screen now. And don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe, because it really helps me out. You can also support me further by using the Ko-Fi link in the description. And with that guys, I hope you have a lovely weekend, and I'll see you next week. Bye!